God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move to the roll call, please. Thayer?
Here.
Adams?
Here.
Secord?
Here.
Townsend?
Here.
Carpenter here. Williams?
Here.
Laker?
Here.
Okay, every once in a while, somebody gets too far away from the microphone and people say they can't hear. If you get to the point where you can't hear, can you kind of raise your hand or do a hoot or something? Just don't raise any fingers. Okay. Next item, adoption of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the adoption of the agenda as presented. Support.
Motion been made, supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have the approval of the minutes from the November 9, 2022 regular meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the November 9th, 2022 regular meeting as presented.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded. Approve the minutes from November 9. Everyone had a chance to read them. Any corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have the public hearing for the 2023 general fund budget. Anyone would like to speak in favor of the budget, could you come forward? Again. And one more time. Anyone who would like to speak against the budget? Again. Again. Public hearing closed. Next, we have public comment. If you'd like to make public comment, come forward to the microphone, please. Okay, do the short straw.
Yeah, well, I wasn't supposed to, it was my turn. But I just got a call tonight that Roy Lerman, my neighbor, I'm representing people on Dorwood Road with the racetrack problem. Roy couldn't make it tonight, so I more or less filled in for him last minute. And we had a little meeting before the meeting here. Some of the questions I have for the board, and I don't expect an answer today for some of the stuff. We're probably going to have to do some research, I hope. But we're talking about the racetrack and noise, dust, and fumes, and so on. I understand that we don't have an answer yet, and there's a question about the ordinance being rewritten, and I don't see where it needs to be. It's pretty clear to me, but I'm not a lawyer, and I'd like an opinion from, a legal opinion from that, what the intent is of the ordinance. I guess that's what we're kind of discussing. I'll read what I have from our ordinance, section 14-117. And this section A, the first paragraph to us, more or less, says it all for all of us in this room. And no person shall have cause or create any unreasonable, unnecessary, loud noise or disturbance injurious to the health, peace, or quiet of the residents and property owners of Bridgeport Township. And then we go on to talk about noise, but this, as I read it, other things aren't excluded because of the dust and fumes and so on. Section B. And then the racetrack situation, which is causing all this problem, is I don't see any place in here it has to be public or private, it says in general. And I'll read it to you, and I know you guys have to do some homework and read it yourself, I guess. It says motor vehicles, boats, etc. On proving ground or testing area, the operation of any racetrack, proving ground, testing area, or obstacle course for motor vehicles, motorcycles, boats, racers, automobiles, vehicles of any kind or nature in any area of the township where the noise emanating therefrom would be unreasonable, disturbing, and upset others. And then that doesn't say it has to be private or public. I was told by the property owner, I questioned this when this started over a year ago, and I brought it to the township then. But the property owner told me he was building a motocross track so they can practice for race events in the area. Meaning, he said some of his kids are in the races for friends and kids, fairs and other events. So they have motocross races all over, and they're practicing right in our yard with these hills. They built a track, and I'm sure after we've been here so many times that I hope the board has took a ride by there and look what they got. There's at least there's hundreds of yards of dirt there. About 1,000 yards, I'm figuring. I didn't trespass, I just kind of guessed at it, to accommodate the racetrack. Right in the track, less than from here to your table there, is a county drain, and it's a wetland. And Adriana had talked to me last time we were here and explained that she had something going with the DEQ, which is Eagle now, which is who knows what it's going to be next week. But she seemed to think they're in violation. They didn't obtain a permit from us or the DEQ to do what they did. So that's something that I hope we can research and we can get some help with that. She was working on it, and I understand she's not here now, and I hope it's not going to be ignored. But she started, because she gave me the paperwork and so on that she had done, and I collected some information that she requested me to get about the track, where it's located, and some maps, and I showed it to her, and how far is the track from the county drain and the wetland, and I gave it to her, and I understand she's not here anymore. She didn't call me back or anything, so I guess we'd like to know what's going on there, and if somebody's going to follow up on that part, which sounded real good according to her. She seemed like a pretty intelligent kid. Right now, thank goodness it's been pretty quiet for us in this neighborhood. They had an accident there, and I don't know what it was, but it was apparently it was pretty serious. There was 6 emergency vehicles there, including fire engine, rescue, 3 police cars for an hour. And that was the night of the last meeting we were at. Since then, they've been quiet. I don't know if because of the accident they had, or they're thinking of liability, which any of us would on our property allow people on. If somebody gets hurt, you're in trouble. But I don't know how these people are thinking anyways. But they've been quiet. We're satisfied if they're quiet, but we don't want to just let this stop now, because this summer's coming. And we had a terrible summer. No barbecues, no people coming over, no activity outside with this going on in our neighborhood. I mean, we're right there. Dust. Our air conditioner was plugged up with dust, and I mean, it's terrible. We don't want to go through this again. Please don't quit on us. We need you. And we appreciate everything you did up to this, and I hope you stick with us and help us. That's all. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Just so you know, I met yesterday with Ron and Jamie, So no, we haven't forgotten about it, and believe me, it's ridiculous. Do you have that information that she gave back?
Yes.
Give her a call.
Yes, I do. Can I bring it up there?
You sure can.
Can I make a comment? I find it ironic, my next door neighbor is adding on to his garage, and in doing that, he had to have his electric power cut off for a couple of weeks. And he came to me last weekend and apologized that until December 12th, he's gonna have to run a generator. And he apologized to me, and I thought, if those people could have that same consideration for all of you down there, I mean, that's just common decency.
That's how we feel. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in this room that doesn't agree with that statement. I mean,
No.
we got great neighbors. I mean, I was happy until this happened.
Well,
All it takes is one person to move in.
What do you think, you can put a racetrack, motor track right next door, there's a house here and there's a house over here, and it's like, really?
And I talked to him about it.
You know?
I talked to him. I did. I know the guy. And I've heard that, I don't know him good, but we meet here and there through work. And he works for Campbell Trucking. And Campbell's the one that owned the property prior to him getting it. And he got it. And about this, we've been complaining, Dave Duffett, I talked to him over a year ago when this started, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and noisier and noisier, and I tried to be diplomatic and talk to the owner, and he'll tell you what you want to hear, and then keep doing what he's doing. But he did say he's building a motocross track, so his crew there, he don't ride anymore. It's his kids and their friends and whoever, they're all riding, and they're practicing they got, from what I understand, they're in Facebook, they got trophies, and they're no, that ain't a bunch of little kids riding around the block.
Yeah.
They're full-blown, noisy, terrible. And I wonder if, I forgot to mention that, if you don't mind, if your lawyer could get involved in this and read this ordinance and see what he says, if there's anything you can do. And I did get a letter when I got my taxes about parking on grass and so on, which is one of a lot of trouble around here. I like the comment you had in there about sending them a letter and warning them. Maybe just warn them you're going to fine them or dump or whatever you're going to do. You didn't say what the penalty's going to be for doing what they're doing. But maybe we could do that. Think about that for this spring. We want this something done before it gets warm again. Right now they're quiet and we're happy. But I do have her stuff. I can't find it right now, but I'll get it to you.
Okay.
It's in here in I threw this together in the last half hour. So.
Ron's going to make it, we can make it Wednesday night, but I talked to him also about contacting our attorney. And we have numerous attorneys that all handle different things.
I'd really like to talk to him myself. Because I do know Bill Smith, and I don't know if he read this ordinance. I don't see, of course, I'm going to take a look at it. It doesn't matter anyways, because I'm not a lawyer. He'd be able to figure it out. There it is. This is all.
Do you want this back?
Yeah, maybe I ought to get it back. Well, just mail it or something. I'll get it next time.
We'll get you a copy right now.
That's it, I think, this time I mean it.
Okay, hang on just a second, Dave wanted to respond. Say, hang on a second, Dave wanted to respond.
Attorney Smith did review that, and he gave us some suggestions. We went out and bought a decibel meter reader. He was issued a citation, and it's my understanding that he contested it, went to court, but he didn't offer a defense. So with him not offering a defense, he was fined and he paid the fine.
Okay, he did read that.
Yes,
Okay, what's the next step?
that was getting a decibel meter reader.
That was fine. Now what happens when they do it again?
Another fine, another citation.
When does it become public nuisance, or that's what the lawyers, or disturbing the peace? I know we talked about this before, and that's why,
Because it's a civil infraction, all that would happen would be reoccurring fines.
no disturbing the peace and no, nothing else.
It's, under the ordinance, it's just a civil.
Well, that's what I'm gonna talk to. Yes, I mean, it's go on forever like this, and they won't quit.
And that's the problem that we ran into, we were talking outside about that, but, property owners where you have issues and stuff. People, why don't you just do this? Well, we'd love to just do that, but the law is protecting them. I tell you what, that house there has got mold in it. So why don't you, red ticket? We don't know there's mold in that house. And if it's a vacant house, we have no right to. If we go on there and take some pictures, but went to court, the judge would probably ask the owner, did you give them permission to take these pictures? And the owner says no, and we would be charged with trespassing. And the judge would throw us out. So we feel the same way that residents do a lot of those situations, but they have rights too, and we can't violate their rights. And it's frustrating, particularly when it's a nuisance, as you say, and totally inconsiderate of other people. Just why?
It's not just the nuisance part, it's a health thing.
Well,
The dust and the fumes and, this, I think the state ought to be involved with that. We're trying to get
we'll keep that.
It's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
yeah, it sure is. It's terrible. Wish I had a neighbor like yours. Of course I do that, so
Be careful, you got them with you now.
I just brought the good ones.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't know that. There you go. Wife just told me I went over my time limit, so send me a fine and I ain't paying it.
You're not limited to 3 minutes. You're not limited to 3 minutes. I'm not going to throw you out for 3 minutes.
Good. I don't want to do it again anyway.
Okay, yeah. We'll get the long straw the next time, right?
Thanks, you guys.
No problem. Thank you. Anyone else like to make public comment? One more time. Public comment is not public. Next, we have a presentation on the Economic Development Strategies Report. Justin Sprague is with us, and Sharon Woods, I understand, is going to be on Zoom. This is a rather lengthy report. He's going to condense it as much as he can, he said, but I read through the whole thing. It's kind of cool.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Chair. I'm Justin Sprague. I'm with the firm CIB Planning. We're based out of Benton, Michigan, and we are a planning, economic development, and marketing firm. And we work all across the state of Michigan when it comes to economic development. We started working with you about a year and a half or so ago now, I guess. on a grant that you had received from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation through their Redevelopment of Communities program, as well as the U.S. Economic Development Administration, to prepare 3 studies. One is the Economic Development Strategy. The second was a residential target market analysis, which Sharon will speak to here shortly. And the third piece was a retail or commercial target market analysis. You did receive last week our draft economic development strategy, and I do want to know, and we've started to put it into its final format, so the copy that you received last week looks vastly different now, but it's all the same content. But I briefly wanted to just sort of go through what this strategy is and what it means to the community. This strategy is wholly focused, unlike a traditional master plan, which focuses on your existing land use patterns, your future land use patterns, and creating policy for how you develop or redevelop land. This strategy is focused wholly on how you intend to try to grow the economy within the community or increase tax base, whether it's retaining existing employers, attracting new employers, or generating redevelopment opportunities like new housing or new commercial retail or industrial throughout the community. One of the things that we did through this process was enlisted the help of a steering committee, and we had a really good steering committee. And I'd just like to quickly acknowledge the members of the steering committee. We had about 15 members, and they ranged from private industry to your DDA board, to Eastern Michigan Council of Governments, to developers within the community or individuals that may develop within the community, and as well as involved in the school system. So we had the Bridgeport Spalding School Superintendent as part of that committee. Through that planning process, we did look at existing economic conditions for the township as it stands today, and you are in relatively good shape when it comes to economic conditions. Your median household income is higher than both Saginaw County and the state of Michigan. Your labor participation rate is right where we want to see it, at right around 60%. And your unemployment rate is relatively low. There are some things that we would like to see some improvement in as well. We'd like to see improved education outcomes through the schools. We'd like to see improved job opportunities for residents, and we'd like to see improved opportunities for developing new housing and bringing in new residents, or giving existing residents the opportunity to seek new housing if that's what they would like, given the fact that most of the housing stock within the community is at least 30 plus years old, if not older. We added a new set of goals for the township that are purely focused on economic development. And I don't have to read through all of them, but I wanted to share a couple of them with you tonight, just so you can sort of understand what the steering committee thought was important as you go forward with economic development. It says Bridgeport Township strives to create a thriving economic center of commerce that supports both employment opportunities for residents of the community, as well as accommodate shopping places to do personal business, provides dining options, and generates personal wealth for residents and expanded tax base for the township. Another says that the township seeks to identify startup or existing home-based entrepreneurs in the community to connect them with valuable growth programs and resources to encourage them to grow. It also states that the township recognizes an existing medical device manufacturing cluster and seeks to promote that as an opportunity to attract additional medical device manufacturers as well as suppliers. And that was one thing that we found was really sort of great about the township, is where you fit in with the broader economic region. The larger economic region, which Eastern Michigan Council of Governments represents, recently completed their economic development strategy and found 5 opportunities for growth within the region that they wanted to focus on, being healthcare, advanced manufacturing and materials processing, professional services, higher education and research, value-added agriculture and food processing, and tourism and outdoor recreation. Well, of those 6 items, 4 are well done here in Bridgeport Township, including healthcare, between your large number of healthcare employees within the community, and then your advanced manufacturing with your medical device manufacturers, value-added agriculture. You still have a thriving agricultural industry within this community, and then tourism and outdoor recreation. With the Cass River and the historic Bridge Park and your downtown and your 2 kayak launches, as well as access to the Shiawassee Nature Preserve, you're really positioned to not only capture tourism dollars, but strengthen and grow tourism dollars. Moving on within the plan, we developed a action strategy and an implementation strategy that identified sort of 4 core specific areas to focus redevelopment on. That being your community core area, and there was a couple of renderings prepared for that. The former Bridgeport Country Club site, as well as the Dixie Highway I-75 interchange, as well as the land swap property and that space. And then lastly, the Phoenix Farm property, and eventually seeing development occur there. We also provided a review of your current zoning regulations as it relates to housing, as well as commercial growth and industrial growth, and made some recommendations based on your existing zoning on how to reach the potential identified in these 4 redevelopment opportunities or proposed redevelopment plans. Then lastly, within the plan, we prepared an action implementation chart table that has a number of items to act on over the next 5 years, and then who those responsible parties are to help achieve that. And that's similar to your capital improvement plan. We did not put a dollar figure on these items, but these were all identified by both the steering committee and administration at the time of items of high importance to achieve economic growth within the community. There's also a section on incentives that are available to assist with development. And then the last piece that you'll be getting with the final document, once you've adopted this plan, we will have within that final document a full inventory of businesses that are within the community, as well as a framework for how to use your incentives going forward, when to use them, what types of incentives should be used for different opportunities. So we made a number of recommendations there. We do expect to have that final document completed in the next week or so. So, like I said, the format that we're putting together now looks a lot different than the format you received last week. But if I could sum it up, I think that the most important thing to take away from this document as far as economic growth is concerned for the community is to recognize that in order to achieve our retail success, we need to achieve housing success and to really focus on these opportunities to refresh housing, create new housing and new developments in your core areas, to revitalize your downtown, to incorporate some alternative housing types. Because as you bring new individuals in, you're going to increase your per capita incomes, and then as your incomes increase, then retail will follow. So if you had to say, if you asked me, where should we start? What's number one? Focus on these redevelopment areas, and let's try to identify some developers, either local or regional, that can see the picture, understand the data that Sharon's about to talk to you about as far as your housing and retail are concerned, and is willing to take a chance that yes, this is a place that we should invest, not a place that we just pass on the freeway. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have of this document, and then I can pass it on to Sharon.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Great, thank you.
So we're gonna pass it on to you, Sharon. Where'd Sharon go?
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me okay.
Oh, sure.
So I am having a little bit of a hard time hearing you, so if you have questions, hopefully Michelle can either repeat the questions for me or maybe type them into the chat. But with your permission, I'll go ahead and dive in just in the interest of time. So I am sharing my screen. Hopefully you can see, I just have a PDF document up. Chances are you can't really see the screen real well. It's kind of a guide for me to share with you the work that I had completed for Bridgeport Township in collaboration with CIB Planning. So my work really focused on two things, doing a housing study and a retail study, market studies. So on that, I have both documents up. And again, I don't expect you to be able to see the data per se, but I will use it as a guide to just kind of talk through to highlight some important takeaways that I want to share with you. So one of the biggest takeaways is that there is a mismatch in the housing market between what migrating households are looking for and what is currently on offer and available within the local market, within Bridgeport Township. So right now, only 67% of migrating households would buy or choose a house if they could find one, whereas your current supply is actually 86%. So that would be what we call a mismatch. In comparison, 33 or a third of the households migrating into the township are looking for attached formats, but your supply is only 14%. So that tells me that basically half of the households looking for attached units in the township will not find what they want. And there's a risk that they could then just leave and go elsewhere. Some of them will settle for something else. They'll choose a detached house anyway, to rent, by the way, or to buy. But they may not stay. They might stay for only a year or even less, and then they could move on. Michelle, I'm going to pause here. Make sure, can you chime in for me? Let me know if you can hear and see me okay?
Yes, we can hear you and see you, and the slides.
Okay, and the slides, perfect, thank you. So, hopefully, if you're interested in diving into these market studies, there's a ton of data in here and a ton of information, but these are the charts that I really want you to look for, this exhibit that shows that housing mismatch that I just summarized. Also, in terms of the magnitude of market potential, there is a market potential to build 25 brand new houses for owner occupied, for sale, to be purchased by homeowners every year. And you could do that for the next 12 to 10 years. Build 25 houses at least every year for the next 5 to 10 years. You could also build 85 for lease units for renters every year for the next 5 to 10 years. These are just new builds only. This only is intended to intercept households that are migrating into the township, looking for new places to buy or to rent. It doesn't include the rehabs. The rehabs are a whole separate number. The rehabs are basically taking existing units, rehabilitating them, remodeling, renovating, whatever words you want to use. I usually just say rehab. For every new house that we build in Bridgeport Township, we ought to be rehabbing 2 existing houses. And for every new rental unit that we build, we ought to be rehabbing 2 existing rental units. So that collectively together, they would meet the wants and needs of households migrating into and within the township. There's also charts in here. Again, this is way too fine-grained to really show on the screen, but just kind of, if you're interested in diving into the report, look for these exhibits that look like this. They actually show who we would be building for. So in terms of the owner target markets, I call them, we're building for households like, we have general categories that we put them into, general descriptors. Households that might call themselves, no place like home, unspoiled splendor, destination, recreation, stock cars and state parks, settled and sensible. You get the idea. That's who we're building for on brand new for sale houses. On rental units, we're building for a different group. We're building for infant debit cards, digital dependents, urban ambition, family troopers, and some low income categories like daring to dream, hoping for tomorrow, small town, shallow pockets, tight money. So there's really a spectrum here on prices. Most of the homeowners will be looking for houses to buy or small cottages perhaps that are less than $250,000 as a for sale price, which is tough to do on a big house. So we're really talking about small houses or nice cottages. On the for lease unit, most of the buyers are going to be tolerating rents below $1,000 a month. But there will be a few that we could build units that could go as high as $1,400 a month, but they're going to be far fewer. So there's definitely a spectrum. I'm going to pause there before I go into the retail analysis and see if there are any questions. Michelle? Okay, I'll dive into the retail study, and it has a similar looking cover. I'm scrolling through because I want to get to my conclusion pages. In the retail study, if you're interested in really studying the market potential, look for section 4C, 4 as in Charlie. There's a 4-page table in here. Again, this is far too detailed to see on the screen. But it's basically the retail strategy is laid out in these 4 pages as a summary. Pages 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to read for you just the anchors. The market potential for retail, we can do at least 50,000 square feet today. And we could do up to 120,000 square feet. We could build up to that, and that's just on one page. That's just among grocery stores, pharmacies, lifestyle stores, some apparel shops, gift novelty, party planning, that kind of thing. 50 to 120,000 square feet. In addition, we could do another 65 to 120,000 square feet, quite a range there, and that could include automotive dealerships, farm supply, hardware, home improvement, furniture, home furnishings, and appliances. So that's kind of the hardline category. In addition, we could do 20 to 35,000 square feet in kind of other supporting kind of categories, including fitness centers, some business support services, some healthcare services. Plus, we could also do 15 to 25,000 square feet of restaurants. And we could also do kind of if we look at the land swap site, we played around with some ideas of kind of creating a campground, or what we might even call glamping, just kind of a place to create a visitor destination that we can then convert visitors ideally over to shoppers. The anchors in all of this are really the grocery store, pharmacy, a fairly small sporting goods store, a retail maker space or an incubator, retail incubator, an automotive dealership, automotive parts and supply stores, farm supply and co-op, furniture, appliance rental. Yes. I thought I heard a question, maybe not. and then also a fitness center. Now, I'm going to jump to anticipating one of your questions because it came up very early in our work, which was, if we go to a site like Phoenix Farms, could we knit together a compelling opportunity for big box retail? And I just want to answer that right out of the gate here for you. I really tested it. We tested it very carefully and went through actually the entire greater Saginaw metropolitan area and studied where the existing big box and national chain stores are located throughout the market. And we did this very carefully through kind of this grid. This is section 4H, H as in Harry. And I put together this multi-page grid exercise. On the left-hand column, we have the sub-markets within the Saginaw Metro. So Bridgeport Township is on the very top. And then we looked at Saginaw City, Saginaw Township, Buena Vista Township, Frankenmuth City, Frankenmuth Township, Orch Run Township, Carrollton Township, Kochville Township, and Thomas Township. So we included all of those townships in our study and carefully went through all the chain stores and tried to identify what seems to be bypassing Bridgeport Township today. And I wrote in, if I felt that they were bypassing you, I typed into this grid GAP, G-A-P, with a question mark. I didn't translate that automatically into a market potential because of what Justin said earlier, that we have a couple of sub-market challenges for Bridgeport Township. There are reasons why these stores, national chain stores, big box stores, are bypassing you. I have narrowed it down to really two things. One is, although your incomes are not horrible, they're not the best in the market. So your incomes are, your moderate to low incomes are unfortunately hurting you. Even though you're just a zip code, even though your trade area could arguably be much larger than just Bridgeport Township, these chain stores are kind of get myopic. They see your incomes are moderate, they bypass you and they go up to Saginaw Township, they go up to the northwest part of the market, or they go to the west. So unfortunately it is hurting you. The second thing that's hurting you is your fairly low, I shouldn't say fairly low, I'm gonna say low. We have low reported SAT scores through your public school district. And we know that there's been a concerted good effort to bring those scores up. Unfortunately, they're just not percolating up through the data yet. And honestly, all school systems took a clobbering during COVID. So COVID set us back on that as well. So those two things are challenges. My last thing that I want to do for you today is read to you the chain stores that I feel could, if our incomes were better, and if our SAT scores were better, if we had been able to capture and intercept our fair share of what's going on in the greater Saginaw metropolitan market, this is what we could have gone after. And by the way, if I were to present this to a downtown development authority, a DDA district, they might actually argue that these stores that I'm going to read off to you, are not actually opportunities, but more likely to be threats to independent, small, locally owned and operated businesses and merchants. So you could have these either way. Half of you, we might even split the room and say half of you might say these are opportunities and the others, half of you might say that they are threats. And that's something that you can hopefully have a conversation about. So traditional bank, we lost a lot of banks, and there's definitely a need to bring some banks back. The state bank, First State Bank, Fifth Third Bank. I'm going to keep going. My other gaps here. Pharmacy, CVS, dollar stores, Dollar Tree. Variety, value, and thrift stores like Ollie's, Plato's Closet, Goodwill, Salvation Army, Five Below, and Big Lots. Let me keep going because I know these aren't exciting. Value Superstore, like Marshall's. Grocery stores like Jack's Fruit and Meat Market, Spartan Foods, IGA, or even Aldi. Hardware, home, and improvement stores like Arbor Freight Tools, Ace Hardware, True Value, Gilroy's Do It Best, Rural King, Old Tractor Supply Company. Craft, gift, party planning like Michael's, Gentleman Fabric, Party City, and Hallmark. Furniture and home furnishing stores like Godwin's and Aaron's Rental. Apparel and accessory stores like Maurice's, City Trends, Men's Warehouse, DXL, big and tall stores. Pet and pet supply stores, you name it, any of them. Sporting goods stores like Dunham's, Sportman's Warehouse, West Marine, Champs, Dick's, REI. Fitness centers like Planet Fitness, Anytime Fitness. Office supply stores like Staples or a FedEx Office. Electronic stores like ABC Warehouse, Batteries Plus, GameStop. Automotive parts stores like Advance, Discount Tire, or Napa. Hotels and overnight accommodations like Quality Inn, Red Roof Inn, Wyndham Suites, Super 8 Motel, Ramada, Residence Inn, or Radisson Hotels. And that is a wrap. That's what I really wanted to share with you today. I think I ran longer than I intended, but I appreciate your patience and your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No, here we go. Anyone have any questions? Anyone?
So just to recap, if you don't mind me saying, I'm going to agree with Justin. We've talked about this many times. Your catalytic project is housing. To build new housing units that attract better income households that help raise the incomes for the township overall. And when your incomes come up, your SAT scores will also improve, and then we can build the support for some of those chain stores that I rattled off. And meanwhile, absolutely have an opportunity for a lot of other small businesses, locally owned and operated merchants. I hope this isn't, I hope you can see that this is still positive, but we have to grow it incrementally.
Yeah, and that's what, we need to keep in mind too, is you can't do this in the next year, 2 years, 10 years. It's just going to take time, step by step. And I don't know if, just build it and they will come. It depends what you're building, apparently, so.
Yep, it's a 20 to 50 year plan.
Yeah, well, a couple of us here may not see the end of that.
I might not even, you and me both.
I take vitamins every day, I might be around, but.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you, very good job. You guys have been great to work with. Michelle, been here for quite a long time now. Has done an excellent job, coordinating things very well. We appreciate everything she's done. She's done well with keeping the board informed, the DDA informed, the planning commission informed, and those kind of things. And it's quite a lengthy process, obviously, you can see that. I read through that, maybe I mentioned it, I don't know, but that was 31 pages long. And it's quite detailed. But we just got to keep working on it and keep doing the things that work and keep trying things. And if something doesn't work, then try something different. That's about all we can do. We're always open for suggestions. You might have got any ideas, wishes, that kind of thing. We're more than happy to listen. Yes, Michelle, you got anything else?
I have a lot, but not right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Justin. The board all set, no questions there, no? I remember where I was here. Unfinished business. Number 1, Resolution R22-22, General Fund Budget and Appropriation Act Fiscal Year 2023.
I make a motion to approve resolution R22-22, general fund budget and, I can't say that word.
Appropriation.
Yeah. Act for fiscal year 2023 as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Do we need any discussion? If not, could we have a roll call, please?
Flicker,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
Secord. Yes. Townsend,
Yes.
Carpenter, yes. Williams,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
So, next, we have under new business, the 2023 fiscal year budgets.
I'll make a motion to adopt the budgets for fiscal year 2023, general fund, fire fund, police fund, downtown development authority, cemetery fund, buildings and codes fund, drug enforcement fund, refuse, equipment, pool, and technology fund as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Everybody's had a copy of this. If any questions? Ron, our accountant, is here. He'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Anyone? Not. Could we have a roll call, please?
Townsend,
Yes.
Flicker,
Yes.
Carpenter, yes. Adams,
Yes.
Secord. Yes. Williams,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
So, next we have Resolution R22-18, Saginaw Stormwater Authority 2023 budget.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution 2218, Saginaw Storm Water Authority 2023 budget as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. And could we have a roll call, please?
Carpenter, yes. Thayer,
Yes.
Secord. Yes. Townsend,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Flicker,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Okay, next we have Resolution R22-20, Police Protection and Safety Resolution.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution R22-20, Special Assessment Roll for Police Protection within the Township as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. This one and the next one, we have the assessment for the fire and the police, and every year we have to pass a resolution to move forward with it. So, just kind of taking care of business. Could we have a roll call, please?
Flicker,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
Secord. Yes. Adams,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yeah.
Carpenter, yes. Williams,
Yes.
Next, along the same lines, we have the Resolution R22-21, Fire Protection Public Safety Resolution.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2221, special assessment, road fire protection within the township as presented.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded. Again, roll call, please.
Adams,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Carpenter, yes. Flicker,
Yes.
Secord. Yes. Thayer,
Yes.
And next we have Resolution R22-23, Healthcare Employer-Employee. This has to do with what's referred to as the hard caps option, Public Act 152, to do with the health insurance. Basically what this means is the employees pay 20% and the township pays 80%. Where do you all got that, Teresa? Okay.
Right, yeah.
Anyone have any questions? If you're not, can we have a roll call, please?
I'll make a motion to approve
Oh,
resolution
yes,
R22-23, employment, employee, healthcare, and hard caps, options as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Can we have a roll call, please?
Baker,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Carpenter, yes. Secor,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
Okay, next we have a resolution R22-24, waive penalties for non-filing property transfer affidavits. Just quickly read through this. Bridgeport Charter Township supports the Department of Natural Resources. Hang on a second. Lost one here. Anyway. Tracy, you want to explain this one?
If there's a time limit for people when they purchase property in the township to transfer their property to their name, and if it's not done in a timely manner, we can assess a penalty to their taxes. And this year we decided, hopefully the board decides to waive that penalty for the year. And they'll be able to go through the year without any penalties.
Thank you. Threw me a curve. It's on both sides, so then I turned it over and it's right here. I found it. All right. Roll call.
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion
Yeah, motion.
to approve resolution R22-24, waive penalties for non-filing of property transfer affidavits as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Could we have a roll call, please?
Secor, yes. Williams,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Carpenter, yes. Thayer,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Okay, moving right along. Resolution R22-25, Liberty Park Spark Grant Program.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 22-24, Liberty Park Renovation Spark Grant Program, application as presented.
It should be 2-5.
yeah.
2-5, I'm sorry,
I got that,
2-5.
Okay.
Sorry.
Reset. This is a grant to try and get some money for the Liberty Park. The Department of Natural Resources talking about renovation of the Backhoe, new fencing, a pavilion, pole barn, refurbishment of ball diamonds, basketball court at Liberty Park, and just
Who seconded that?
I did,
No, you? Oh, yeah, okay, good.
with that change.
Yep, with that change.
the following that just legal moment. Okay, we're all set. We have a roll call, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
Carpenter, yes. Thayer,
Yes.
Secor,
Yes.
Next, we have the 2022 Streetlight Assessment.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 streetlight assessment as presented.
Support.
basically for the streetlight assessment, it's going to be the same as it has been for 2020, 2021, and 22. There's no increase whatsoever, so. We have a roll call, please.
Thayer?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Carpenter, yes. Secord?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Okay, next we have the capital improvement plan, the backhoe purchase.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of John Deere Model 320P backhoe loader from AIS Construction Equipment Corp. and John Deere for the price of $109,146.90 as quoted with payment due upon delivery.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. These obviously don't come cheap. Ron has done a lot of research. The guys tried out various tractors. Actually, the list price on this is $217,215. We get a state contract, a couple other things that they're picking up. Total delivered cash, $135.
Oh, you can say something?
I did in just a second. Total delivered price again is $109,146.90. So, and that was part of the capital improvement plan. So go ahead.
Also, they did their homework enough to know that if this is purchased now, even though it's a 2023 item, there'll be 10 to 20% savings versus the increase off of the first of next year.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion?
Yeah, this has been my concern, and I love the CIP. I like the idea of what it's doing. Trying to budget this stuff out for 5 years, 6 years. But just a little concerned that because the CIP had it in 2023, I hope it never comes to the point where we can't accomplish this and save that 10 to 20%. I think there'll always be the good discussion, but it's something that we've talked about. The CIP is a working document, it's a moving document.
Right, yeah, it's not set in concrete, it can be modified at any time.
Yeah. But as long as we all understand that, and we're not going to get them in the machine until 2023, but that's been my concern, and I just didn't know how it was going to work, but I think it's working in the way to our benefit. So.
No, and it gives you a better picture of the future and what things are going to need to come about, and then gives you a better time frame for planning 2, 3, 4 years down the road. Obviously, we try and save as much money as we can, but can't always accomplish that. But okay, we want to do a roll call on that.
Okay. Carpenter, yes. Thayer?
Yes.
Secord?
Yes.
Townsend?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Good. Next we have accounts payable.
I'd like to make a motion to approve checks number 70421 through 70529 in the amount of $374,879.08 as presented.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Everyone had a chance to review it. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. We have bills. Okay, next we have the police department report. Dave?
Good evening. So the police department handled 638 calls for service for Saginaw County Central Dispatch for the month of November. It's just down slightly from the 666 calls we handled in October, but still averaged over 21 calls a day. Unfortunately, our loan applicant was unable for us to sponsor them for the regular police academy. So we're going to continue to compete against over 200 other police departments in the state to try to fill out our 2 openings. So we'll still keep at it and try to find the proper candidates. And then I just want to thank those that contributed to our No Shave October, November. Officer Badicki has the funds, and he's going to be shopping to provide gifts and food for at least one family for Christmas. So thank you.
Thank you. Dave?
Good evening. The Bridgeport Fire Department responded to 124 calls for service for the month of November. And to date, we've responded to 1,339 calls for service for the year 22, which is actually down about 40 calls from last year. So a little bit of progress in the right direction. We've also had positive improvement in the right direction as far as number of people. We are now to 17 people. I've gotten 2 people to return to our department that departed a little over a year for various reasons. At the time, they couldn't commit. Now they've rethought it and have asked to come back. And one has returned a couple of weeks ago. The other one has just finished his physical agility requirements and such that will be coming back out probably within a week. And then a third individual who we'd already put on, brand new, has entered into the fire academy along with one that we have carried over from last year. So we now have 2 members becoming certified firefighters in our academy that just started last week. They will go through to April, and upon that time frame, they'll be certified firefighter 2 within the state of Michigan to meet the requirements we need them to be. So that's a good thing. We also look at the other improvements are being tried right now as far as helping us streamline our medical responses at the county and health department level, or med control level, because they recognize that there's a strain on our ability to help with that aspect. We don't want to fully desert our community and be not able to provide that part of the service, but there's obviously areas we can improve on so that we're going to where we're needed the most, where we can provide the most help, and so forth. So that's also going in a positive direction.
Thank you. And manager.
Can you hear me? Okay. We've had some calls regarding the tax bill increase this year. A few of the reasons are the tax bill values went up by 3.3% from 21 to 22, rate of inflation. Mosquito control millage increased by 0.36 mils that was voted on in November. And the intermediate school district increased from 1.9417 mils to 3.5 when the vote passed in November. And the trash collection fees increased from 165 to 181.48 per household due to the increased service costs and the value. The trash assessment was so low for so long. We're getting that built back up at fund balance. If anyone has any questions, they can give us a call and then we can go through their bill at our office on the taxes. The township manager position has been posted and will be closing on December 12th, and I'll get the applications to the board next week, end of next week probably. And we have an open position for a part-time code enforcement officer that should be filled by early to mid-January. We have some interviews set up for later this week. It's a part-time, part of the township's capital improvement plan. And Lisa Shaw has also been helping in that department with getting letters out and things like that, and hope to be more proactive with the blight instead of reactive. And then we have we're hiring a full-time DPW water worker, and this position is going to focus on getting the fire hydrants back up to where they need to be, and along with the other DPW water duties. That's it.
Thank you. Did good.
Yeah. Dan, your case.
Okay, board comments. Brandon? I can take up the rest of the time. We have hold on.
Hold on to
No, hold on this one, I'm sorry. No longer a democracy at this point. Just a couple of things. We've been working on budget and had a lot of discussion, and we've tried to figure out a way to get a code enforcement officer. Because mostly, if you go through this building, the various employees have 2 or 3, sometimes 4 various responsibilities. Tracy, when she's an administrative assistant, has a ton of things to do. And now she's got a ton of quarter, so she's got to deal with me all the time, so. But my wife would agree with that one. So particularly with the code enforcement, for a long, long time, because we don't have the people, we have been reactive. And we're hoping to get proactive. So we can have somebody out there not, peeking in every corner looking for trouble, but when there's issues, then they can be raised and addressed, and hopefully we'll never get to the point where everything's going to be wonderful. I had a conversation with someone, the guy that talked over 3 minutes prior to the meeting, and he was talking about another township, and they put out a letter, and they have the same problems that we do. So there's no misery loves company, they say, but really there's no love there. But hopefully we're going to be able to get there and react a lot quicker than we're able to now. Another thing, I'll address this one to try and quickly, as far as the taxes and going up and that kind of stuff. I can understand people sometimes don't understand how that process works. I had one time where a gentleman got up to the microphone and said, I pay you guys $2,000 a year and you don't do nothing. Well, if you turn over your tax bill, you will see there's 20 things there that where your tax money goes. There's a little blip there that goes to the township. So just to get that point out there. Another one is on the, I don't know what site that is, but Bridgeport Neighbors or something like that. I had made the mistake of looking at it, but someone said, yeah, well, they passed the police assessment and the fire assessment, and they keep raising that. They can raise that 10% every year. Well, that was implemented, I believe, like 10, 11 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood. It has not increased by a penny that whole time. But right away, there's other people, yeah, let's do this, so. If you hear those things and you got questions, don't hesitate. Give us a call. One of the board members, me, whatever, and we're glad to talk about it. I wish we could always make everybody happy and resolve every problem in the next couple of days or something, but obviously we can't. But it's not that we give up, and it's not that we don't care. Just one other thing, frustrating. I got a piece of mail the other day, and it was in a letter envelope, and it was addressed Supervisor Townsend with my address. No return address on it, no nothing. And when I turn it over to open it with my little zippy-doo opener, it's tape, Scotch tape across. I'm going, well, this is kind of... So I handed it to my wife, and I said, I got to run to the township. Can you open this and look at it while I'm gone? She said, no. So anyway, I opened it up and I read it, okay? Now, it's someone from the northern end of town, put it that way, raising a lot of issues, okay? Now, I took a ride Sunday and drove through that area, street after street, and a couple, 3 of those things, yeah, we can get addressed, but there's others there that I've got questions about. Who do I ask? Because it was saying concerned residents. Who do I talk to? Who do I explain why I can't do something legally? Like I said, it gets frustrating because people have rights, I, Ron Wheatley, whomever, cannot enter their property without their permission, period. We would be trespassing, and we could legally get charged with trespassing. But I understand people get frustrated, we get frustrated. Because when people are frustrated, a lot of times, then they, have a tendency to come and see us why we're not doing anything. At least if you get an opportunity to talk to them and explain some things, they may not be happy with your answer, but at least you're going to get an honest answer. I can say this, I think pretty much the whole board can speak to it. I've never lied to anybody. And it's not easy sometimes to tell somebody, sorry, but I can't do anything about that. Because that's not what they want to hear. And I understand that. But I'm not going to bull somebody, give them a line, hey, I'll take care of that, I'll get into that, and then come say, well, I tried to, but so-and-so said we can't do anything. I don't do things that way. I will check with whomever. I've said before, I'm not an expert in every area, but we've got a lot of experts here, and I consult with them all the time. So with that,
If I can make a comment.
Sorry.
No, I'm glad that we're gonna get a code enforcement officer, but the shortcomings of this building is, where's that person gonna be? Where's their desk gonna be? File cabinet, paperwork. I don't expect an answer, but that's the frustration I have. This, just the location where we're at.
Well, and I don't want to go.
Yeah, you don't have to. Let's, somebody can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support. I wasn't done.
Harold thought you were.
Support. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Thank you for coming.